I can't believe it's taken us this long to mention the name Jake Fromme. Jake Eason goes down against App State. It's never a good thing when your starting quarterback goes down, but at least Fromme got the time against App State to be able to come in, get his feet set, get himself together, get some valuable playing time under his belt, and look pretty good against App State before he had to make the big road trip. So he didn't light up the sky, didn't set the world on fire with a ton of points or yardage, 141 yards on 16 of 29, but really just the one interception, no big, huge mistakes out of Jake Fromme, and he put together the game-winning drive.
Oh, yeah, kudos to him for sure. I mean, coming in as a true freshman and having to step up into a role that, probably didn't think he was going to have to do for a long time, especially with Jacob Eason in front of him. I think he's done a great job. I think his composure and his maturity has really shined through. Coach Smart says all the time how mature he is and how football savvy he is. He's extremely smart when it comes to the game of football, and I think that's what's helping him be so successful thus far. And I think his ability, his entire career in high school, he's played nothing but really impressive teams in the South. And I think that kind of helped him get ready for college. Like with Jacob Eason, it's kind of hard to compare the two because he came from the West Coast where, defenses and stuff like that aren't near as big as they are in Georgia high school football. But Jake Fromme has always just commanded attention and commanded a lead. And he just oozes confidence. And I think that's something that the teammates and stuff like that like. I like his attitude. I like what he brings to the table, but I'm really honed on Eason. I'm a big Eason supporter. I'm a big supporter for both of them, but I think that once Eason gets healthy, he's going to have a starting spot right back. And as much as Georgia fans will probably like to argue with me, I've been defending Eason for about 2 weeks now, but he's a full year under his belt. He came in last season. He earned a spot. And I just think that his experience and overall maturity is just going to take over. And no offense to Fromme, because Fromme's just as, mature in his own way, but I just think Eason has just got a leg up on him.
So what is the outlook right now on Jacob Eason's health? What are we hearing right now?
Well, when we spoke to Kirby Smart on Tuesday, there was no word yet. But I will say that my boss and I were walking out of the Buttsmere building where we do all the media stuff like that, and we walked out with Jacob Eason, and he wasn't using any kind of cane or crutches or anything like that, and he was just barely a limp, but that was because he had a big brace on it still. Hopefully, I'm predicting maybe in the next 2 weeks. That's fingers crossed, but I mean, if you can keep him rehabbing and keeping him safe, and Fromme's still doing a great job, I think you make sure his rehab is 100% before throwing him back out there.
So do you think, Savannah, that most of the fan base is with you in the Fromme versus Eason discussion and who should be the starting quarterback when they're both healthy?
I honestly think that the Georgia fan base is kind of torn. I can't think of a time as a fan and even, coming up as wanting to be a journalist and stuff like that, that I've known Georgia had this caliber of quarterbacks back to back. Maybe Georgia's had talented quarterbacks and stuff like that, but when you go to the second string, it kind of is not a 5-star quarterback. And so the fact that Georgia has 2 5-star quarterbacks and either one can take the starting spot is really impressive. So I think Georgia fans are kind of torn because they like Eason, but they also like Fromme, because Fromme was able to produce a little bit more offense and his passes looked a little bit more accurate. But I will say that I've seen Eason progress from his freshman year to now, and I just think that he wasn't given a chance to show what he's improved on. I mean, it all really dwells back to the offensive line. I mean, the offensive line was returning 1 starter, Isaiah Wynn at left tackle, and then you also have Andrew Thomas, a true freshman, starting. So that offensive line is still working through the kinks and working through all the hiccups and everything like that. So I think once Sam Pittman gets that offensive line, really gelling with each other and clicking, I think that it doesn't matter what quarterback's going to be back there, it's going to be successful.